16:03. I have no reason for being late. My apologies. Oh, my face looks puffy. I noticed that when I was with Adelia on Friday. But that's what you get when you get old. Your body has a mind of its own. All right, so get let's get Facebook on. And again, I'm on the patio. Hello, welcome everyone. Uh, Welcome. Hola, Deborah. Hi, everybody. All right. All right. We are on Facebook. I haven't done Instagram. I need to try because we are getting some views and followers on Instagram, and I'm not usually an IG person. Hello. DK Allen, hola, my friend, Frozen, Oklahoma. You know what? I have not even reached out to my family. My daughter is in Maryland. My brother's in New York City. Um, uh, who else do we have? I have a nephew in Pennsylvania. I really need to check. The weather is lovely. Look, see what I'm wearing? And it's like I'm on the patio, so I'm not in the AC, but it's kind of nice to be out. And I like to do these outside. Happy Sunday. Out of many, we are one. Yes. Hello from the Bay Area. Which Bay? Elena. Hello. Dr. Surab. Hi. From Johannesburg. Oh, wow. Wonderful. We have a sis who's visiting. Gathered. Another MD. Yes. Wonderful. Well, ladies and gents, welcome. Like somebody would say, come into the room. Oh, and today is my third year anniversary here in Panama. I've been here 3 years today. Greeting, Zahara. Hello. Yes, the tea. Let me tell you, we changed the venue this time. We went to a different place, and we wanted to try it. It's like a fancy hotel, and they do the tea. But the setting was lovely, but we were disappointed with the choices. They had a lot of little, macaroons and other things, like dessert. But the little tea sandwiches, I swear, they were like this big, and you just like a piece. We all left hungry, so it was not a good thing. It's nice. Um, I haven't eaten the food there to say that the food is good, but the tea, we're not happy with it. So we're gonna go back to our original place. First live event in Panama. So you are in Panama, Sahara. That's wonderful. Yes, 3 years in Panama. So if I say something, it's gonna be based on my experience here in Panama. I talk a lot about how to move to Panama as a single woman, which is why single women retiring abroad exist and how it came about. But the day to day of living in Panama, of surviving, is, what it is. And I'm so very happy. And as I tell people, I have not had one day where I said, I wish I hadn't done it. Not one day. I have not had many challenges here. I did research and I was ready for the manana, even though every time it hits, you're like, but is it enough to make you pack and go? No. In terms of cost of living, definitely lower than what I had in the States, because I don't have a car. That was a big expense. You're in Coronado. Very good. Very good. I love Coronado to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. It's just not my jam. Um, so when I came, I had made three previous visits, and that's a plug for doing your scouting trips. Even though I didn't call them that when I was doing them, but it just kind of gave you an idea to experience the country, um, not as a first time visitor. Where it's like ooh and ah and ooh and ah. It's just, oh, how does this work? What is this place? What is this area? What is the vibe? So I did that. And then one year I took a 3 week tour of the whole country and just went from one area to the next just to see how I felt and if any of those, including Coronado, was going to be a place I would want to, you know, set and stay. And then I came back and I said, nope, I'm staying here in the city and I'm not a city girl. I never thought I would be a city girl, but that's what I did. I don't know why these white wines are so sweet. That's just a lot of sugar. No bueno. That's the last one of my, I have a party this coming Friday, so I know we're gonna have more, more wine. Mm, really sweet. But I have my water with lemon. So yeah, I'm very happy here, very happy with my decision. And I did a video that said that 30 to up to 70% of people who move abroad return home. We don't have a lot of data as to, we know why. There is data as to why people go back, but the numbers kind of shifts. And somebody would say, well, why, where did you get your source? I mean, there are multiple sources and some may be contradictory, but here in Panama, I can't say, my circle is small. So I can't say that I know a lot of people who turn back, but I know several who have gone back for whatever reason. Whether it's not their vibe, it's not what they thought it would be, it's too hot, they want to change. Some people are a bit restless and they like to experience different things. Now, I like to travel, but the decision to stay and to move to a place is a whole different ballgame, right? And I don't believe I would be one of those people who would be happy as a uh, digital nomad, trying here, 6 months here, 6 months there. That's not me. I like to sleep in my own bed. I never rest well in hotels. So that would, and again, I know myself. So I know that wouldn't be for me. And even now, with the state of affairs of all the threats and what we're hearing happening at home, um, and in this region, so people ask me, are you worried? Are you thinking of going somewhere else? And I'm like, no. Yes, I would like to have residency somewhere else. And then right now, I don't believe it's a really good time to be traveling around. Americans are not getting the red carpet roll for them anymore because of what's happening. So I think it's a time for me, and that's me, to kind of lay low for a little bit and just kind of go deep and strategize. And I'm not going anywhere. That's what I'm saying. Unless the government comes and said, or some other people come and say you're not welcome here anymore, then I won't have a choice. But for me to just get up and go and say, oh, I'm worried about what's happening here, whether they're going to drop a bomb or something. Listen, I was talking to someone this week, and we both agree that you have got to think of life and death as just part of life. You cannot be running from from problems and what may happen. So you just kind of sit tight. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I plan on doing. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm not crossing any ocean to go hide somewhere else. I'm not doing that. All right. God has put me here. I'm gonna stay put. My heart is at peace. I'm not, antsy about things. I'm not the NC type. If I have a problem, I worry about how I'm gonna fix it because I'm a fixer. But I don't plan on going anywhere. Um, People also ask me questions about, are you feeling that the locals are starting to feel a certain way about Americans? And truthfully, I have to tell you, no, I have not. Again, remember, my circle is small. I go out when I need to go. I'm not out there in these streets. Yes, we have noise. So the people in my building still treat me the same. Um, Maybe occasionally you may get a vibe from one or two people, but not enough to make, a judgment that it's a collective thing. Mm-mm. And I don't see it on social media because I kind of follow certain things on Instagram. And usually I love to watch those because I like to read the comments. And I think when I read the comments, it tells me what people's mind are, or the Uber drivers, the vibe you get from an Uber driver, or the people that you communicate with, whether it's at the store or, well, I don't get my hair done anywhere, but places like that. So you can be sensitive to the undercurrents, and what somebody may be feeling from the way they interact with you. No, I have not felt that, and I'm very sensitive to that, and I'm staying open for if I feel that. But so far, so good. All right. All right. So I hope you guys have your question answered. Please hit the like button. I see 27 people and 4 likes. So help your sister out and give it the thumbs up. They say it helps the algorithm. I don't know anything about Mr. Algorithm. As I said, I've never met him, so I don't know what he's about or what he's trying to say. Thank you so much on Facebook as well. Thanks. All right. So I said today I would talk about healthcare in Panama. Okay. Healthcare is something that is one of the main reasons that older people move here. And most of us as women, we are the ones, typically responsible for healthcare of our family. So we are the ones making the decision as to one insurance plan versus another one, moving here and there just to keep everything flowing. So when you're looking to retire somewhere, definitely I don't even think it's just old people. You need to know that healthcare is going to be something that's going to be accessible to you and affordable. And I think I mentioned in a couple of videos that there are three main reasons seniors, older people, consider retiring abroad. The first one is cost of living, right? We want to be sure that our little money can stretch more. So now, if I were to do a cost comparison between my cost of living here, I think mine is about $2,200 a month, right? Um, at home, between my mortgage, my car, insurance, gas, and other things that I had going on, it was about 3,500 to 4,000. Okay, so definitely there is, Yes, that's true. That most people, yeah, most people, but you know how it is. It takes one or two people to start stirring the pot, and then the mood shifts. So you always have to kind of be sensitive to that. So cost of living definitely is one factor. The second one is cost of healthcare, because from the US we know about cost of insurance, the cost that the insurance does not pay for, you know, your co-pays, your deductibles, and all of that, cost of medication, that was very unaffordable to a lot of people. And as a nurse practitioner, I can tell you a lot of people, you know, we had to always make the choice to order a generic for a patient because that was cheaper, or enroll them in Good RX, which was a program where they can get good discounts. And people had to shop around for meds. And people with very little um, Social Security or pension, sometimes they had to make a choice whether they buy meds or they buy food, and they have to stretch the meds. If the doctor said 3 times a week, they take it twice a week to make it last longer. You know, those are basic decisions that people are making in the US and other places, I guess. And also, people would have to go get another little job, like bagging bags at a Walmart or a shop like that, so they can make a little extra to pay for those, non-covered costs. So that was number two. So we always look at healthcare as a major reason why, or yeah, why you choose a place, besides how you feel about the place, the weather, the language, and all that. So, cost of living, cost of healthcare. And the third one that I've read is the availability of an expat community. You just don't want to go somewhere where you're going to be by yourself, because that loneliness can hit hard. It can hit hard. And also, I was talking to Adelia Abroad-SWRA this week. She interviewed me. And I said, when I created SWRA, I was looking for community because I'm a single woman. I'm in a country where I know no one. So I needed a group, a sisterhood. And creating SWRA was going to give me something to do, something that I'm passionate about, and that's something I needed. Not everybody needs that, but I need that because I can't just sit around, sipping sweet, sweet wine and just go to dinner and lunch. Mm-mm. Know thyself. So I wanted to be a place where there was community. And I knew there was a community here, but now it has grown exponentially, right? So we have a lot more people here. So the other factors people move to a place could be a location, closeness to where you are, the weather. Some people don't. Yes, we get the hot rods here. Some people don't like the warm weather, and they're looking for cool, or they go to Bukete here in the mountain. They're like, oh, that's where I'm moving. Well, yeah, you have the coolness, but what else is there? What else would you need? What else? All right. So don't look at one thing when you're choosing your location. And you could probably put them in tiers to say, oh, this is most important. This one and this one, oh, it's okay, it's negative. You know what I'm saying? So you need to rank them, because to me, I would never choose a location just because of the weather. I couldn't do it because that's not what's important to me. So, in talking about healthcare here in Panama, yes. So make sure, hi from Maryland. Oh my God, you must be really cold, sis. So please make sure you write down your questions, okay? Yeah, some people say, oh, put Q in front of it. I don't know. I'll try to answer as much as I can. Panama is in Central America, okay? We speak Spanish, so language could be a deterrent, could be a problem. Healthcare in Panama. Listen up, because I've done videos about it and still people are confused. Or I'll see someone post something like, oh, I'm moving to Panama, but what is the healthcare like? You should have some of those answers already. if you've decided to move to Panama. Or they'll say, oh, what is your job situation? You should know the answer to that because there is no really jobs for expats here in Panama. You have to bring your jobs, create a business, or work for a company, and that is not easy. And we have protected professions here that a lot of positions are reserved for the local, like nurses, doctors, lawyers. Yeah, you can't just come and say, I'm going to hold my shingle there and I'm going to get clients. Doesn't work that way. All right. Remember to hydrate with some lemon, lime in there, or ginger, and you're good. Panama has two systems. Panama has a private system and a public system. I remember when I was in Ghana, people talked about the country's public system. There was like a government program where people could go to the doctor, to the hospital, and pay very little. We have that here. It's not universal health care. It's not. And that healthcare is delivered in government sponsored programs, facilities, clinics. All right. So we have what we call Caja de Seguro Social. Seguro Social means social security, social services, and those are funded by the government. And then there is another government agency called MINSA, Ministerio de la Salud. This is more like your health department, and they worry about, disease, public health. So you do have multiple government hospitals and clinics, okay? So if you were to call 911 or somebody call 911 for you, hola from Tennessee, that would be cool there too. If you call 911, we do have 911, 911. If somebody finds you in the street, chances are they're going to call a 911 for you. When they pick you up, they most likely are going to take you to one of those public hospitals. Now, a lot of locals, if they know you, they would say, please do not go to a local hospital. Well, they are state managed, and there's always funding shortages. So the facilities may not be what you used to. The logistics, there's a lot of waiting. And in terms of facilities, the bed, the equipment, it may not be what you're used to. So most people who come here as immigrant foreigners, we make a beeline for the private sector, not realizing the challenges that people in my age group encounter trying to secure health insurance. You can get the care, but bring the cash. Bring the cash, right? You're gonna get taken care of, but you got to pay. So in those government hospitals, sometimes the equipment may not be up to par. I've heard in the news sometimes that, let's say, people who get dialysis, the dialysis machines don't work, or the air conditioner goes out, the people are hot, water, there's always something. This is a developing country, so do not come here and oh your nose and like, ooh, 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 right. Where I am in the city, my place where I am is like 2 blocks from the largest public hospital. And several people have been admitted there, expats. Some have had surgeries, and they say it's okay. I mean, it doesn't have the bells and whistles, but you get care. If you just go to the emergency room, chances are they'll triage. And if you're having something major, then you'll be triaged. You move up. But when you go in there, the sala, the room is full because this is a public hospital and it is usually well staffed. It has all specialties pretty much. And people come even from the interior to come here to be seen. Some things that happen because the public hospitals are just not here in the city. They also have them in because Panama has 10 provinces, and each provinces will have public hospitals and public clinic of whatever size. So if you are in a an area where they may not have, let's say, a cardiologist or oncologist, and you develop a disease where you need that, it's possible that they don't have that specialist there in a little boony small place. I mean, it makes sense, right? So a lot of people are having to come to the city to see the specialist. Panama also has, oh, before I go there, I have heard that in those public hospitals, you got to bring your sheets and your personal items. Don't expect all that. It's not the same. And there is a sister who just joined SWRA. She was telling me that where she was, they made medical admission bags for people like us, with sheets and slippers and stuff like that, pillowcases, maybe a blanket, and some toiletries, right? Those are the kind of things you may not find in a public hospital. So if you go there, bring your stuff with you. That's the same thing I saw in Ghana, Africa. People come, the bed is bare, and the family has to bring the soap, they bring food. I mean, at least they feed you in the public hospital here. They didn't feed them over there. So you got to pay for everything, the IV, the sonogram, the test, everything. You have to pay for those here as well. All right. They don't ask you for your credit card up front like they do in the public space. But everything you need, you have to go to the caja, which means the cashier. You pay and you bring a slip that says, I pay for it, then you get the care. So don't come expecting hospitals to care for you. There's no indigent care. There's no indigent care. You know how our hospital in the US, because I was on a hospital board, and the cost of caring for uninsured was really high. And that is why they had to pass the cost on to the insurance companies. The insurance companies pass them on to you. Listen, somebody's going to pay. It's not going to be the hospital, it's going to be us. So so you have the hospitals, you have some clinics. Polyclinics mean that you may have different specialties within that clinic. And again, there's usually a wait because it's for the populace, right? The cost at those hospitals is just minimal. So that is a draw because it is almost free healthcare, but I don't want to even say that it's subsidized because it's not based on what you can afford. It's just that the cost is very low. So the people, are able to afford it. Now, again, I talked about sometimes services, specialties may not be available in a hospital outside the city. That is a given and that is a reality. But what the government does have here is something maybe it's been a year that they started. It's called Ciudad de la Salud, City of Health. And on that campus, and I think I posted something about it, they have multiple buildings with different specialties. There's oncology, cardiology, there's pediatrics, obstetrics, and they even had rehab and other things. Those are still covered and managed by the city. So let's say you have a problem. Yeah, we saw the oncology unit the other day because there was a national singer and she was there for Christmas singing with them, bringing them gifts. So if you have a specialty or a special issue that cannot be treated in any of the local public hospitals here, they would refer you to that specialty clinic at the City of Health. And that City of Health also provides specialty services for people in the region. It's not limited just to Panama, right? So that's a good thing, for a public system. So when you move to an area in Panama as an older expat, when I say older because you are my audience, one of the first things you need to ascertain is where is the hospital, what is the quality of services at that hospital, how close it is to me. Because one thing we worry about in Panama City, the traffic sometimes gets so heavy and you're like, okay, if something is wrong, how do I get to the nearest hospital? And how far is my nearest hospital? So sometimes we say it might be easier to take an Uber because the Uber may know how to get, to get some back roads. But knowing for me that the public hospital is like 2 blocks, I don't know, I might, hobble over. But you also need to know where the public hospital is. And if you have a situation that warrants sometimes some type of specialty care, you need to ascertain that before you move. And I've suggested to some people, nope, I'm not lonely or homesick at all. So you need to ascertain where that hospital is. All right. When you go to a public hospital, we've had people who've had surgery. This gentleman said he had a hernia repair and the whole thing cost 350, meaning the doctor fee, the hospital fee, IVs, treatment, the surgery, everything. So what we tell expats and immigrants, don't dismiss the public hospital if you don't have the funds to secure private healthcare, because private is going to cost you. Okay. And it doesn't matter what you say about gringo pricing, you will be gringo price, because we are seeing a shift on the cost of things we used to see when I first got here 3 years ago. Well, yes, you have to take into account inflation, right? But if you used to have something that cost $25, let's say a visit, and then now it's 75, well, it's like a 300% inflation increase. I don't know that it's inflation. I think there are multiple factors. You have a little bit of inflation there, but the other thing I think is like, oh yeah, they can afford it, because they have so many expats. And some of the locals will even tell you that the locals will tell you, oh no, we go over here because they know this is us local, and they have a price for the local and a price for you. All right. So don't dismiss that. We are all going to be gringo priced. All right. So that is the public system. The other day, this sister had a little child admitted to a hospital. She was there like 2 or 3 days, all kind of tests, including echocardiogram, IVs, and everything. She said the bill was $30. That was in a children's hospital. That means all those services are subsidized by the government. So don't dismiss it if you are in a situation where you cannot afford to buy private insurance. Don't stub your nose saying, oh, I'm not going to the public hospital, where you may not have a choice, sis. Okay? I'm not dismissing it. And I have a sister here, she said, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. And again, this is the idea of not thinking of your life as something so precious that you want to, protect. That we went our way out. So be sensible and not fear what could happen. All right. The private hospital healthcare that we have here is designed for both locals and expats, immigrants, whoever can afford it. Doesn't matter. All right. So if you are, let's say, someone in your 30s, 40s, it's going to be quite easy for you to get private health insurance. And we have some Panamanian sponsored type of health insurance. So of course it's going to be cheaper for the locals, right? If you are 30, 40, even 50s, of course the cost is going to change as you get older, as it does over there. Every year we had a price increase, right? It's quite easy to get access. Blue Cross Blue Shield is here. They have all kinds of different insurance plan. I'm talking things like $80, $100 a month. Yeah, all right. But I was listening to a young woman who stayed here for 10 years, and she had a child here. She said the care definitely was better than what she received in the States, but she said she had a lot of out-of-pocket costs between the co-pays and the co-insurance and deductibles. So don't come expecting that it's going to be 100% covered, because we kind of got away from that in the US. No insurance is paying 100% anymore. You're always going to have some cost. So get used to it and don't come here with your expectations high. You're going to be disappointed. All right. The problem we run into as immigrants, expats, older expats, is that for some reason Panama says those insurances, Panamanian sponsored insurance, oh, once you hit 65, they're still stuck in that 65, age number. We're not going to cover a bunch of things, because if you have pre-existing condition, and those might include diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, you had a stroke in the past, you had a heart attack in the past, those are all considered pre-existing condition. So when you apply for an insurance plan, you have to declare those things, and then you got to take a medical exam. Like right now, I'm in the process of getting some exams so I can um, qualify for an insurance plan, if I decide to ultimately do it. But everybody who is applying for medical insurance as an older person, you're going to have lab work. They want to see your A1C. They want to check your blood pressure. They want to do EKG. For me, a woman, they want a mammogram. They want to be sure you're not bringing something in that's going to increase their costs. If you have a pre-existing condition, let's say you say, yeah, I'm diabetic and I have high blood pressure. Now they would say, is it controlled or uncontrolled, right? So when you go to the doctor, you see the white coat, your blood pressure is up, and they're like, it's uncontrolled. Your A1C is like 7, it's uncontrolled. So what they're gonna say, we can cover you, but we're not gonna cover anything remotely associated with these two conditions. If you have high blood pressure and then you have a stroke, that's not gonna be covered, because it's gonna be related to the high blood pressure. Diabetes is another thing, because it kind of tends to predispose you to having a stroke. Somebody said if you have a history of cancer, you may not ever be accepted by an insurance plan here, because it's considered a major pre existing condition. So that's why we tell people, before you come, make sure you do your due diligence. It's not only about the cost of apartments and food, it goes beyond that. But when they say they're not going to cover, depending on how unstable the situation is, they might say, oh, you need to go see a nutritionist or whatever. You need to manage your medication and come back. Make sure you show us that you're managing that disease better. Therefore, we're not going to cover anything for 12 to 24 months. After the 24 months, if anything happens, we'll cover at 70%. So they're trying to do the best they can to reduce their liability, of caring for you as somebody who is older and ill. So that's why when you are over 65, when a sister says, I'm 45, I say, you need to go, or I'm 55, or I'm even 60. I say, sis, do the best you can and sign up for a plan, because once you're locked in and you hit 65, they're not going to kick you to the curb. You're still locked in, okay? But I'm 67, so that boat has left. I can't get the rates or be accepted, for a plan. But you also have access to international plan, whether you're 40 or 50. The international plans may have an age limit, maybe 75, but you're going to pay, because once you hit 65, your premiums go up. And every year, every age, they're going to bump it. People have told me that they've had quotes of like $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month. I don't know about you. I can't afford those. Most people cannot afford those premiums. So when you say, I can't get any insurance in Panama because I have this. They told me they're considered pre-existing condition and I cannot get insurance. Well, and we say, well, you have access to the international plan. Well, I can't afford it. Well, that's when you say, okay, well, if something happens to me, I'm just going to be okay going to the public hospital. That is a decision you have to make after you've done lots of research, and you have to be okay with your decision. Okay? And it doesn't say anything about you that you don't care or whatever, right? You just, like a lot of people, can't afford the insurance. We do have two options for older people. There are two hospital discounted program, Hospital Santa Fe and San Fernando. Those are two hospitals. They accept you. I think the one from San Fernando, you go up to like 75, but the hospital Santa Fe, there is no age limit. You say, oh, even if you're 80, 85, 90, they say, oh no, we're not going to say we're not going to cover you. But then when they go down the list of all your pre-existing conditions, so they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're not going to cover those for 24 months. So that means in those 24 months, if something happens to you, it's on you. All right, you got to pay out of pocket. And when you look at the services and what they offer, it's not a lot. What it is, they give you a discount. Usually 70% they pay, you pay 30%. The one thing that kind of stumped me, when you go to the ER, they say we pay 100% up to $750. And I'm like, that's not a lot of money. That's not a lot of money. But I mean, there's a lot of searching and research that goes into looking at which plans that you qualify for. So some people say, well, it's better than nothing. I'll do the hospital Santa Fe plan. At least I have something. At least you have a place to go, right? Or if you go to San Fernando, usually also the clause is you can only go to those hospitals. So when you call an ambulance, and I'm going to talk about ambulance in a second, when you call the ambulance, if they call 911 and the public ambulance come pick you up, and you have to say, no, 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 I need to go to Hospital Santa Fe because that's where my plan is, right? And I asked a question, and I'm like, well, what if you are found and you're unconscious and you can't tell them to take you to Santa Fe? The response was, well, they'll take you to the public hospital, stabilize you, and then transfer you to your assigned hospital, either Santa Fe or San Fernando. Okay, those are the only two hospitals doing that. The other option is a public hospital. All right. Private insurance. Let's say we have a lot of people from the VA coming here and they have FMP and other programs, or they have a Medicare Advantage plan. All right. Public hospitals are very familiar with expats, okay? And they want to provide care for you. We have one hospital, which is the best one here, has been recognized regionally. It is associated with Johns Hopkins Hospital in the States, and they follow the same standards. They're JACO certified, they're stroke certified, and the same thing. And apparently, the staff at Johns Hopkins comes down and check them out to give them their seal of approval. So most people, and it's like in a Jewish community, well, it's gonna have the bells and whistles. But it's a business, right? We don't have notions like not for profit, for profit. Even though in the state it means nothing. When it tells you not for profit, that means whatever profit they get gets invested in the hospital. They may not have shareholders, looking to get a return. But they still have to function as a business and make a profit. Those hospitals are in business to make money. There is no law here that says if you come to a hospital and you don't have an ability to pay for your care, that they are expected to do so. There is no such law. You can't pay, you go to the private hospital when they think it might cost you $5, $10. Okay? And even at the public hospital, before you leave, you got to clear your account. Somebody, you got to settle. There's supposed to be no carry on, no carry over, zero balance. So whether you have cash to pay when you're getting a discharge, or you might have to call someone and say, "Oh, sis, you need to come bail me out because they won't let you go." You got to pay. So you go to a private hospital. Let me talk about Medicare Advantage for a second. As of today, as far as I know, the Medicare Advantage plans, as a nurse and nurse practitioner, we work with those a lot. There were some good ones and not so good ones. And they have to get pre-authorization, because they were like PPO, HMOs. These are companies that contract with the government to provide care that is a bit different from the traditional Medicare. Traditional Medicare Part A covers hospital, right? Part B is like for doctors' visit, equipment, and rehab and stuff like that. Rehab? No, I don't think it's rehab. It's doctor visits and then equipment and certain other things. Now, those costs could be paid at 80%. So a lot of people were getting a Medicare supplement to pay for the 20% that the government doesn't pay, right? So they take money out of your Social Security for Part B, and then you have another premium, all right? But when you enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, usually those premiums go away. You don't have to buy supplements, all right? And a lot of those plans have zero premium. I'm on one of those plans and I don't pay anything per month except for they insisted I buy something for medication, and I take no medication. So they take like $5 a month out of my account. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to return $5 a month, right? But Medicare Advantage by law is supposed to cover you wherever you are in the world if it's an emergency only. Some people still don't get it right. They'll say, "Oh, they don't accept Medicare over there in Panama." No, they do not. And it's not just Panama. It doesn't matter where you go. Don't show your card and expect when you go to the hospital they're going to bill Medicare. No, Medicare doesn't get billed outside of the US. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan only, you'll be covered for emergency. So a lot of us are like, well, that's not bad. If I fall or if I have anything that could be conceived as being an emergency, I'm going to be covered. The problem we ran into was this. The hospitals here, again, do not have an obligation to fight with your insurance company for payment the way we are used to back there. You know how it is. You send the claim in, the first thing is denied, denied. You didn't send this, you didn't send that. And it's a game. They play the game and they string you along. It's like when you have your money in the bank. The longer the money is in the bank, click the like button, guys. You're 44, only 25. Give it a thumbs up, por favor. So when you go into a place, you are in the hospital here, over there, and the claim goes in, the hospital goes into a lot to get paid. You know that, right? So they play the same game here. They'll say, "Oh, well, we need this, we need that, we need that." And then they're stringing those people along. Well, those people they don't have an obligation to fight with your insurance company on your behalf. And usually what they did traditionally was to say, "You need to give us your credit card. All right. We will do like a pre-bill. We'll have a hold." Let's say they assume that your care might cost $3,000. They may put a hold on your card for $1,000 just to get your care started. Then you get everything done, and of course, the care is still cheaper than what you used to over there. All right, but still, They have that credit card and they hang on to it. Let me tell you. After you finish, you're getting ready to discharge, they itemize all the items, all the care they provided, and it comes to about $3,000. So they're going to charge your card the extra $2,000. And then they say, okay, you have this insurance plan. We will help you by providing you the claim. I remember this claim, 1500 or something like that. So, and they let you fight your battle for reimbursement. This lady Jackie, who's in Boquete, she said she had COVID, and she paid the what $15,000 it costs for her to get care, but then it took her 8 to 9 months to get paid from her insurance company. She does have a managed care plan. So this is the thing here. So that's why I keep telling you, when you come here, make sure you have a credit card that, with a limit on it, so that if you get admitted and you choose to go to a private hospital, that the first thing they're going to want to see is that card. And they're going to charge. Now, at the same time, Jackie, if you watch her, you know that she had been trying for a while to help us expat not having to use that credit card first, for the hospitals to take it upon themselves to bill the insurance companies. And I think last year there was a big, she had a big, YouTube saying, oh yeah, now this hospital, blah, 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 they're all going to bill your insurance company. Everybody was happy and happy. We in the city were very happy that Pacifica Salud, which is a premier hospital, had agreed to use this third party billing company to manage our claims. Now, I think another place called Panama Clinic, which is also another hospital. There is a hospital in Chiriquí, or maybe one or two in the David area, and also Minimed. We'll talk about Minimed in a second. Those three entities in the city jumped on the bandwagon and said they would bill on our behalf, so we didn't have to prepay, so to speak. But right around the end of the year, we got a notice that Pacifica Salute said, okay, they're not willing to pay this little game with your insurance company, saying, we're not paying, you're not paying there. It's taking them too long to get their claims paid. So they put a hold on all that billing for us. So we're back to square one. I think I was asking someone if they had restarted, because that was what we were told, that they were going to work with the companies and then start back. I have not seen that notification that they started that. We didn't hear anything from Minimed or Panama Clinic that they will stop billing for us. So maybe they're giving us more of a leeway, of a grace period, to see how long it's going to take those insurance companies to pay. Now, you remember the thing about the CEO of United Healthcare, which is the managed care I have, that they just play this game of not paying. The longer they keep not paying, the more cash flow they have. This is a game that the insurance company plays. So this is where we are right now. I was debating about around the end of last year. I said, I was going to go back to regular Medicare, and I was looking for an insurance plan, because again, what we worry about as older expats is that, what if something happens to me? If you have a stroke, that is a major thing, and then you have to have rehab. If you have a heart attack, or let's say you need to have some stents put in, or you need to have open heart surgeries, if you go to a private hospital, it's going to cost you. If you want to do it in the public hospital, everybody's like, you may not want to do that, right? So if it's something major like that, you would want to be in the private hospital. Well, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars. Yes, it's still more affordable, but still pricey, because we don't fix income. I'm telling you to get rid of your debt. I don't want you to go back into debt. Hi from Minnesota. Oh, Whew, we're praying for your state. All right. So this is where we are right now with the private health insurance. What we tell people, when you come and you have the managed care plan, you pre-register yourself at the Pacifica Salute, the Panama Clinic. That way they have your insurance information, where you live and all that, your medical history, so that when you get admitted, gracias. Gracias. When you get admitted, then they already know you. But always have that credit card ready, okay? There was a sister during the time that Pacifica Salute said that they were going to bill for us. That was before they put the hold. She said they still needed her credit card, and they put a hold of $500 on it while they were getting authorization from the insurance company. Because you know what, delay in your care. If you don't have the credit card and they have to call your insurance company and there is a delay, what do you think is going to happen? Delay in your health care is not a good thing. If you're having a stroke, you have 90 minutes to get the medicine to bust that clot in your brain. And if they're waiting, then you're missing out on that window. But if you have the credit card, they'll give you the medicine and then they can fight it out. Okay? So our mindset should change when we go abroad, expecting, you need to know that the system is not the same, that things don't work the same. The mindset, the expectation of you going to be cared for by law. There is no such thing. You got to pay for your care. The other thing that we do here is that we pay out of pocket for like the regular things, your general yearly exam. Those of you who do that, your mammogram, lab work and stuff like that, your shots, your vaccines. We pay for all that. Dentist cleaning, eye and hearing aids. Those of you who may need that, yeah, we pay out of pocket. So that's why I tell people, if you have a budget, you need to have a line item that says medical. Put about $200 on the side every month. That way, if something unexpected comes, you can go to the doctor when you have a cold or whatever. All right, Minimed. I am not an expert on Minimed, okay? Those of you know more about Minimed than I do. I believe they are the largest multi-clinic, specialty clinic in the country, private, not public. What I thought of Minimed before was they were like a big urgent care. If you have an emergency, you fall, you have a scrape, you have a contusion, you need an X-ray. You could go there because you get seen faster versus going to Santo Tomas Hospital, the largest public hospital, and then you will pay out of pocket. But when you see a lot of people coming to a community, it's like the business mindset gets turned on. So they see so many of us here, and they're like, we need to capitalize on this group. So they created something they call the expat program. It's $20 a month, and I think if you pay for a year, you get a discount. So if you need some regular exam, let's say you need some follow-up labs, you're diabetic, and yes, you can go, and it's highly subsidized. You may not have to pay anything, or if at all, very small. Of course, if you have an emergency, not a big emergency, but let's say you think you have the flu, you have a cold and abdominal pain, whatever it is, yes, you can go see your doctor. I have not signed on for that, but the marketing for that program has been insane. Jackie Lang in Boquete pushed it really hard. So lots of people have joined, and I think you have to sign on through a third party called Lakeside out of Mexico. Again, I'm not an expert because I have not experienced it. They also have a Minimed hospital in Tumba Muerto, which is an area that is very popular, very visible. It's a very beautiful building. I went with the sister to see a cardiologist. They have multiple specialty doctors, clinics within, next to the hospital, but in the same area. And I have to tell you, I was impressed with the cardiologist. He asked the right questions. He put that sister on the right plan. And I'm a cardiac trained nurse. So I was like, okay, that's not bad. Building was beautiful, clean. And I had asked him because they have had like an open house where people went out. I did not take part in that. And I asked sisters, how was it? Or they say it was clean. And I asked the doctor, I said, do you have specialties? You do surgery, orthopedics? He said, yeah, we have all that. So I don't know how big it is or how many beds they have. But if you are part of that plan and you need to be hospitalized, yes, you're going to be admitted. But I don't believe that the plan covers hospitalization. Come on. You're not going to have a major medical plan for $20 a month. The math wouldn't be mathing, right? So, because MiniMed also agrees to bill your Medicare Advantage, if you are admitted, I believe they bill your Medicare Advantage. We had a sister who was admitted, she was there a couple of days, and I asked her, and I did a video with her, and I said, did you get a bill from MiniMed for that? She's like, no. So I'm thinking they are billing or they billed her insurance company. But it's a big clinic. They have multiple clinics throughout the country. So maybe they can afford to wait and kind of play the little game with the insurance company. All right. So that is another option. A lot of people jump on the bandwagon and sign up with MiniMed for that. Now, I've been here 3 years. I have not, thank God, needed to be admitted to a hospital. In fact, I'm still trailing to go see a doctor. I'm a nurse practitioner. I don't get sick, and if I need something, I kind of go and get it. And the only thing I've had to do is maybe go to the pharmacy, which you can go on your own, and then say, I want this, this, this. And then I go get a cough medicine, which is not the same I used to, and let it go. But I am in the process of considering signing up for an international plan that is not those two plans or discount program I told you about with the hospitals, because I was like 70/30, 750, and I'm like, that's not much. I wanted a plan that would work like what I know of an insurance plan should be. So I'm gonna have to get some labs done and get mammogram and all that. Even though at my age, and this is like a disclaimer for me, even as a a medical person, I am not hypochondriac. I don't expect that I'm going to live forever, and I don't want to know. I remember I was like in my 30s or early 40s. They were doing the PET scans. I don't know if you remember those big semis, and they had the equipment in there. And this lady was doing her best to get me to go get a PET scan. I'm like, I'm not doing that. She said, don't you want to know if you have the beginning of cancer? I said, hell to the no. No, I don't know. I don't want to know. If I develop something hurts, I'll get it checked out. But I don't want to be prodding and going in there and looking. At my age, of course, I have something brewing somewhere, but I can live in peace as much as I'm healthy. I do what I can, and then whatever befalls me, it's my turn, right? But it's good. Some people love to have a doctor. Every time they sneeze, they run to the doctor. Oh, I don't feel good, doctor. I'm not that kind of person. All right. Thank you so much, Greta. So if you need to have a doctor, and I think it's good, especially for our emergency document and the little tag that we tell our sisters to put on your purse, so that if they found you in on the ground in the street, the John Doe or Jane Doe. So they would. So there's a sister in our group who does the little, oh, I need to mention it, who does the little tag for you. So, but you need a doctor with their contact information, Dr. Duncan or whoever. We know we have Alejandro at the ProCare clinic and Dr. Duncan at his clinic. So it's good to have a doctor, but I don't want to be doing all these prodding and looking and screening and all that. But so that is mini med. There are still some unknowns as to, we haven't heard about the billing for mini med or the Panama Clinic, and I still don't know if the Pacifica Salute has resumed billing the Medicare Advantage. So as it stands, you need to have a budget line item for putting a little bit of money away every single month. So you can, like this week, I'm going to have a dentist appointment, another appointment, all these things we pay out of pocket. But seriously, they are more affordable. You can see a doctor here for $30, $40, $50, which is not what we used to. So it is still pretty affordable. But be careful, because I've heard people make videos and give some not so true information about healthcare and other things. They make it sound like everything is cheap in Panama. You can go to the doctor, to the hospital, and pay nothing. And I would never tell you that you can stay here bare, that you don't need any kind of coverage. Now, if you're independently wealthy and you have good amount of money that you can pay for your care, go for it. I was talking to Adelia the other day, and we talked about, when you get to a point and you need non-skilled services, like you need somebody to help you with bathing, something happened, you can't walk, you're going to have your therapist at home, but you need that person to be with you as a sitter companion to help you. We believe that you need to budget for that and pay out of pocket. Don't worry about long-term care insurance, anything like that. All right? As you get older, as I always say, it's not if, it's when something's going to happen to you. So the more prepared you are, the better. If you're over 65, you are going to have to consider either the two hospital discount plans. People think of Minimed as health insurance. I still don't know if that's true or not, but definitely it gives you a sense of security knowing if you're in their system, if something happens to you, you can run there and be seen by a doctor. And they do have the hospital that you can be admitted into. The same sister, her mother was admitted there, and it still was a good experience for her. That's good. All right, let's talk about the emergency system here. That's another video. When you call 911, as I said, they're going to take you to the nearest public hospital. Now, if you're in the city, I would not consider any other hospital but Santo Tomas, which is close to me here. That is the largest hospital, public hospital in the country. They have all specialties. When we took the little girl to the pediatric hospital, she said, "Oh, we get all that. They have all specialty there." So don't feel bad that if you end up at that place, you're going to be taken care of. Okay? But you pay for everything, even though it's very affordable. Um, what the other thing that's different here about the EMS, emergency medical services, there are a lot of private ambulance companies. Each private hospital has contract with a particular emergency service. If you feel something is wrong, right? In Panama, before you call 911, it is recommended that you call your doctor first. That's why I do need a doctor. When you call your doctor and you say, "Oh, this and this is going on," he will determine, come to the clinic, come to my office, or you need to be admitted right away. Then he'll tell you which hospital to go to, and that hospital will dispatch their own ambulance to come get you. Depending on traffic, don't know how far, how fast you're gonna get there. Keep that in mind, because there is no emergency flight, helicopters to take you here and there. No. So that's what you do. You call your doctor first. and your doctor, who knows who's where, specialties, etc., would say, "Oh, I want you to go to Hospital Nacional because there is a private hospital called Hospital Nacional." And we had a sister admitted there, and it was a good experience, right? And they know which specialists might be at that hospital. So those are private emergency services. If your doctor said, "Oh no, for that problem, you need to go to Pacifica Salute," he will call Pacifica Salute. Pacifica Salute would dispatch their own ambulance to come take you to their hospital. All right. Another layer in that is that there are different programs you yourself can sign on with an ambulance service, so that if you got to be ill, that insurance company you call is going to come check you and determine, yes, we need to transport or not. And what I was told by a sister who had fainted is that if they come and they just assess you, there's no cost to you. But if they take you to the hospital, there might be a cost. But if you have a plan with them, you may have 2 or 3 trips free for the year. I just sign on with a program like that, but it's not directly with an emergency ambulance service. It is a program that is given through my bank, of all places. I went to do my little activity, and the little teller, she's like, "Oh," I mean, she sees I can speak Spanish. She's like, "Oh, would you be interested in this service?" What it does, it provides you it itself, because this is a big bank here. It contracts with the largest ambulance service, SEM, SEMM, and they would come and take you to your hospital of choice. I think you get 4 in a year. Then you have unlimited video call with a physician. They also have a few rehab visits. Somebody can come and do some rehab with you at home. They come, they can draw your blood, but it's like $8, $8.45 a month. I'm like, oh yeah, why not? So that keeps me from having to contract with, an ambulance service themselves. So if I were feeling bad and I call my doctor once I get one, and he said, "Oh, you need to go to Pacifica Salute," then I would call this number and I said, "My doctor said Pacifica Salute," and that ambulance would come and take me. So it's a little bit layered. It's not the same of just 911, and you know how it is in the States. They'll take you to the nearest hospital. But what we used to have in the winter when it was busy, 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 they'll say code purple, code purple. And it's like, this hospital is full, then you need to go to that hospital. It's not like that here. So a lot of it, vascular issues, definitely I would say Pacifica Salute. Because that's a premier hospital, and they have all their standards are by just like John Hopkins Hospital. So definitely, and I tell the sisters, if I were to be having a stroke, that's where I would want to go. If I had any cardiac issues, that's where I would want to go. Okay. So if you have Medicare Advantage, make sure you sign on, you register with them. At least they'll have your information, but get your credit card ready. Is there anything else I missed? If you don't, if you're older and you don't want to sign on with the hospital plans, your only other option is either self-pay or an international plan, and those are super pricey. We have a sister who's in her 80s. It's difficult to get insurance at that age, even though even though Hospital Santa Fe says we don't have any age limit, but the limitations of pre-existing condition puts a damper on things. All right. All right. Now I'm ready for your questions. I hope I didn't miss anything. You talk about the ambulance, things like people who need dialysis, or if you were getting chemotherapy and any of that. If you have a condition, and I said that in one of my videos, if you have a medical condition that is very unstable, right, and you have to see your medical team every 3 months or something like that. We have a sister who needs to go back regularly, and she's okay doing that. But just be ready that you can live here, but you may have to go back, to see your physician. Some people go at the beginning of the year to get all their exams and whatever checked out. You can do that. As long as you are clear, that's what you want to do. Um, so the international plan, as I said, for people our age is super expensive. But if you can afford it, they don't have all the restrictions of pre-existing conditions. So it might be worth it. Remember, you work hard to save your money. Right now, it is money well spent on you. So if you need to pay for, you know, to get a plan, I would say do it. Do it. Don't leave the money for the kids or grandkids. Take care of yourself. All right. So I'm waiting for your questions. If I missed anything, let me know. Thank you guys for the anniversary wishes. Yes, 3 years. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, what I was gonna say, things like chemotherapy, um, having somebody asked me a question one time. Do you think I'll be able to do what is it that I was talking about? Dialysis, peritoneal dialysis, which is when you hook up the liquid overnight and let it clean your womb and then it goes back. I'm not sure you can do that, but those are out of pocket expenses, okay? Some insurance companies, what about rehab? The insurance plan I'm looking at, I think maybe you'll get rehab inside the hospital. I'm not sure if they pay for outpatient rehab, but you can have somebody come to your home, a therapist, and work with you one on one, $35, $40 a visit. Well, that's cheaper than what you would get in the States. That's why I say put some money away. That way you can pay for those things. What you want to be covered for are catastrophic expenses. When you have a stroke, you need specialized medicine, you have a heart attack, and you need open heart surgeries. Those are going to be costly. And even if you had an insurance plan that paid 70%, that's still better than nothing. So that's why those hospital discount plans, don't discount them. They are, worth looking into. And then the best thing I tell people, when you come to insurance, don't try to find information for yourself because you're in a different country, they have different rules. Just talk to an insurance broker. They got the information, they will tell you what's what, right? Whether yay or nay. And the prices I saw were like 360, 340, up to 1,500. So each insurance plan has their own little flavor and what they want you to do. 3 years. I'm planning on moving there in a few months. Wonderful. Wonderful. Which bank has a program with Sam Ambulance? Banismo, which is my bank. But somebody told me that Banco General has the same program. So just ask. I just find it odd that a bank would have those kind of programs. I'm like, really? Go to bank? She's like, oh, yes. And you can call your doctor unlimited if you have an issue, have a question. Oh, the only thing I wanted to tell you, so I called the number. She said, call that number. If you want anything done, you have to call and they have to give you direction. But I wanted to see if somebody spoke English. There was an option for English. So when I called, somebody said, Janet, or whatever. And I talked to her in English. And because for this insurance that I'm looking at, I need a mammogram and I need some labs, which I know I needed. And I asked her, I said, would I be able to go to which lab do you use? She's like, oh, you need to call that number or WhatsApp number so they can direct you. So I haven't called. But you do get some information in English, so that's good to know. Because a lot of people don't speak Spanish here. Medical insurance plan, they'll cover prescription medications. Ooh, that is a good question. I'd have to research that. I do not believe so because you can go into any pharmacy and order and get your medication with no prescription. The only thing you need a prescription for are antibiotics and control substance, like Valium, codeine, and Percocet and stuff like that. I kind of doubt it because I remember looking at my plan. I don't remember medication was. They do cover psychiatric stuff though, and we do have a psychiatric hospital here in Panama. I was shocked. Yep, that's interesting. I don't remember seeing that. I need to look at that. Just because I don't take medication, it's not something that I hear talked about a lot. And it's not like, excuse me, the Medicare Advantage plan where you do have access to ordering your medications. Mm. So if you needed medication, I would get them through your Medicare Advantage plan because that's part of the Medicare Advantage plan. And then you can have the meds shipped over to you. Some people use Amazon Pharmacy. And I tell people that sometimes you may be on a medication that's a specialty medication and it may not be available here. Some people just fly over to Colombia. Colombia is bigger than Panama in terms of medical tourism. So they're used to expat and all that. They do a lot of joint surgery and stuff like that. People come here for dental work. They also go to Colombia for dental work or Mexico. Yeah. Um, are there any other questions? Did I miss anything? And the other thing also I recommend to some folks is if you have a medical history that is kind of complicated, you could do a consultation call with a local doctor or Dr. Duncan, explain your situation and ask him if there is available whatever your specialty needs are, special medications, special treatments. And he is a local doc, so he probably say, yeah, and oh no, I don't think we have that. Then you have to make a decision, right, as to whether you can move abroad with your medical condition. And personally, I feel that if your condition is very unstable and you need to be seen, you need to be close to your medical team, you got to think really seriously as to should I move abroad away from my medical team. That's your choices. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm saying think about it, talk to a physician. And some people don't take advice very well, so I try not to give advice. I just state the fact and let people make their own decisions. Yes. You have asthma. No, yeah, they have those. No, they have. Oh, we even have DME companies where you can buy hospital bed, nebulizers, and stuff like that. No, you'll get inhalers. Yeah. Asthma is not something people worry about. I'm talking more about if you had cancer and you need some specialty, chemo drug. It may or may not be available here. And a lot of medications here have a South American version, right? So it would be a generic. Like people have trouble finding combination drugs. Sometimes you have a drug for high blood pressure and for lipids together, and they have a hard time finding those sometimes. So those are the questions you want to ask. There was a sister who was consulting with me, and she's like, I need these three medications. They're keeping me alive. Can you see if we have them here? Well, one of them, I called a pharmacy and said, do you have it? They said, yeah. It took them a couple of days to respond to me. But then when I tried to get back, they don't follow up. And this is where the challenge comes with people expecting the same, things don't work the same. People don't call you back, and people get frustrated. It's, yeah. And then they'll go, the customer service mentality or expectations, leave it over there because you're not going to find that here. And don't just stretch your neck and say, well, I need to speak to your manager. And none of that. Okay? How would one go about booking a consultation with a doctor? Well, you just call the doctor. So I can give you two doctors' names, and then you call them and you say, I'm considering coming to Panama. I have some medical questions. Now, I don't know if they have a fee for it. Don't quote me on that. They may want you to pay them for their time. That's just right. But at least you're getting information that you need. Yeah, let's just get away from the idea that everything is free, okay? If you need information, sometimes you have to pay. Anything else? Well, there was a sister who had just signed on with Sam, and she had an issue the other day, and she said she called them, and they came pretty quickly. They checked her out. So I would say if you want to, there's another company called EMI, EMI. They do the same thing. They come see you, check you out, decide if you need to be transported. They probably would check your blood sugar too. And so she was happy with their response time. So that's good to know. But Sam is the most popular ambulance company here. My health issues are complicated, as most of my specialty doctors would say. Yeah, you would be one of those people that you need to think carefully. If you have a complicated medical history, it might be a challenge abroad. Okay? Do the hospitals have ophthalmologists within their system? Maybe not the hospital, but the clinics do. Yeah. Ophthalmologists are not an issue here. The Panama Clinic here has almost every specialty. So you just say which one you want, and they'll direct you to the right floor and suite. Did you say earlier that peritoneal dialysis is an extra cost? That would be something you would have to pay for. But peritoneal dialysis is something they train you to do, right? You don't need a nurse to come do it because it's an overnight hookup. And if you needed to have a nurse come hook it up, it's not going to break the bank. And this is where you finance your care with that $200 a month is for those kind of things. And your little nest egg, spend your money taking care of you. Okay? Now, hemodialysis, which is the blood where they have to hook you up, you have to be in a center. And I think I read that you have to pay out of pocket for those. Now, if you have an international plan, you may not have to, right? That's what I'm thinking about because I still have a complicated pre-existing condition. Can you refer you to a holistic doctor? Well, the main holistic doctor I know is Dr. Duncan. He's very popular with the expat community, and he's not one to push meds first. And pretty much no, if you send me, I'll put my email in here. If you send me an email, I don't like to put doctor's information right in the chat like that. And I'll give you his name. I'm pretty sure he'll be able to do a consult for you and kind of direct you. Okay? Yep, that's my email. If you send me an email, I'll give you his contact. He's definitely holistic. Hola, JC Love Life. That vino looks delicious. It's sweet though. It's not my Riesling. I don't know which one. Is it a Chardonnay or what? It was sweet. So I'm glad it's finished. But a little bit of vino in the afternoon, that's good. Whew, I am getting hot. Maggie, do you know if GLP drugs? Yes, we do have GLP drugs here. I don't even think they need a prescription for that. They get them at the pharmacy. Hola, Jenny Benet. ¿Cómo estás? Yep. Greeting. How are you? Avi Williams. Thanks for the information. I mean, is it clear as mud, guys? I think it's kind of complicated, but I don't want anybody to come here and then get into a situation where they're not prepared, for what is happening or what could come. Because, things happen. We've had sisters fall into ditches, break their ankles, break their knees, break their elbows, and then they need to have surgery. Now, the two ladies I know this happened to just went home and had their surgeries in rehab. And another lady that I know needed a back surgery that the doctors over there did not want to do, and they did it here. So, you know, so we do have most of the specialties here, right? Um, and I don't think it's fair to compare and contrast because the doctors here are so much more caring and a lot of them were trained overseas. So a lot of them speak English in their offices. Minimed has some English speaking doctors. If you go to a small doctor, like somebody asked me about the dentist, my dentist office, no, they don't speak English. But so don't expect that. And in my Spanish classes, I try to teach the ladies to say what's happening to you, go to the doctor, to book an appointment, say what the problem is, and because when you don't speak English and you admit it to the hospital, let's say you in that public hospital, no English, no, 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 no. That's not an expectation. The nurses don't speak English, technicians don't speak English. So you're going to have to rely on your Google Translate. And I keep saying you need to learn Spanish because having a medical emergency and no language skill, that's a dangerous situation because you may not be able to give the right information nor receive the right information. So that could be peligroso, okay? All right. Anything else? Hola, Grandma. Ah, hola, Grandma. I like that name, Jojo Lisi. Hola. Yes. Oh my God. Don't forget to check out my podcast in the morning. 5, 6 minutes just of encouraging words to get you started on your day. It's just audio. I don't have my face on it. Like this afternoon, when I finish here, I have to record several episodes. I do like 7 at a time, but every day it gets a little tedious. But that's what I started to do. Thank you for hitting the like button. I appreciate it. Any other questions? I don't hear a lot about weight loss stuff here because people don't care about your weight. Nobody cares if your booty is flat like mine or if you have a big one. Nobody cares. So you are free. That's kind of a freedom that gives you, you can relax. Nobody's looking at you. Okay. Thank you for the anniversary. Yeah. Is Central American Spanish the same as Spanish in Mexico? Well, I have not been to Mexico, so I can tell you, but I know it's different from Spanish from Spain, right? But I am told that there are some nuances, I would say, from country to country, even in Central and South America. When I remember being in Chile, I didn't really see a difference at the time. I hear people talk about Colombia, which is our neighbor, that there are something they say differently. But that's to be expected wherever you go. That's why you learn to train your ear to say, oh, that's why they say it here. Like a la orden, they say here for you're welcome, or kisopa, these are kind of Cologne type of little lingos. So you learn to listen to see that that's what, how people say certain things. It's still snowing here in New York. I would love to be in a warm space. Aw, I understand, sis. I mean, I am warm, but that was a consideration for me when I was looking for where to retire. I refuse to wear a coat and boots anywhere else I go. But when I was in Peru, it gets kind of cold, and people wear their leathers and their boots, and they have like cashmere looking sweaters, and the llama is big there, and they use that fur to make certain things. I think that's kind of chic. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that. But snow, no. Gracias, Julie. Minnesota, yes. I see these people protesting in the cold. I give them credit. Have you visited El Valle? Yes. Oh, El Valle is absolutely stunning. It's fresh when you're going down or up because it's in a crater, right? It's a volcanic crater. But so there's lots of mountains around and peaks and stuff. And the air is fresh. It's like it doesn't look like anything like Panama City. Lots of green. I just saw a post. They say morning in El Valle, and you hear the birds, and the air is fresh. There is a mist. You need a wrap, and you have your coffee or your tea. Oh, beautiful. And then people ride their horses in town. It's really nice. I really love El Valle. But would I live there full time? No. There's not much to do there. I wouldn't do that. And it's not very diverse either. No, no bueno. Not for me. I can't wait to retire and get there already. Yeah. Well, I retired early. You always have that option, right? I was talking to someone too, and she's like, "Well, where you retired early? What was that?" I said, "I was sitting in traffic one day, and there were some things that were building up with the people I was working, and I sat there and I said, I'm done. I am done. The decision was made. Decision made, and that was it. I've never looked back, and then I made it happen. Look at the money and say, you know what? If I change my lifestyle, I don't have these expectations of keeping up with the Joneses. I have to have this and that. You can live a simpler life. Yeah, you can live on much less. You're welcome, Tammy. I'm not sure which question I answered, but my pleasure. A la orden. My friend is from Peru, and she showed me pictures of some of the cold places there. Yeah, they do have some cold places, but I was in Cusco when I was trying to go to Machu Picchu. Like in the morning, it's nice and cool. And some of the hotels even have like little heaters, and they make you pay extra for the heat. And then they have these nice um, llama type of wool type of blanket. And you get under two of those, you don't need any heat. You good. That's what I did when I stayed there. I love Peru. I really did. The only thing I did not like about Peru, I didn't see people who look like me. I maybe saw two or three. And I was like, don't know. But the food is amazing. Oh, I'm ready to go just to eat. I took a cooking class there. And Peru is different from Panama in the sense they use a lot of potatoes, something that I'm trying to stay away from. They have like over 400 species of potatoes, purple potato, black potatoes. They grow quinoa, lots of blueberries, and they have this big corn that they call choco. And the food, all the herbs, they take time to make their broth that they call caldo, caldo de pollo, caldo de carne, caldo de cerdo. Oh my God. And I remember when I was there last year, one of the restaurants in Lima was voted the best restaurant in the world for that year. Is it 2023 or 2024? I was like, what? Yes. And there is a strong Asian influence. You know, they had a Japanese president. Chicharron, that fried pork, reigns in Peru. El ceviche reigns in Peru. Okay? But the food is amazing. Lomo saltado, which is this beef tips that they put with peppers and stuff. I bought like a chicken soup, and the broth was just amazing. I didn't have one bad meal there. Um, I'm hoping to do a scouting trip before August. I'd love to meet you all. That would be great. You know, all our events are going to be posted on the Facebook page at Single Women Retiring Abroad. But what I find, a lot of sisters are like, I'm not on Facebook. I'm like, well, I can help you, sis, if you're not on Facebook. I'm not on TikTok, and I'm really not very active on Instagram. I am willing to only be on YouTube and Facebook. I'm not looking to take anything else on. Teacher's pension. But you have Social Security also. If you have, a lot of people here have Social Security and a teacher's pension, and you can make it work. Yes. Mm. I mean, the food period. The food period. I absolutely loved it. Oh, you spent 4 months in Cusco. Wow, that's amazing. It's a pretty town, isn't it? But boy, my heart was pumping, working hard with that elevation. Woo! And my Airbnb was an up more another hill. So I would take like 20 steps and stop, and then 20 more steps. I think if I stayed there for a month, my body would have adjusted, but the elevation, it hit you. I remember when I got off the plane, going up the plane, I was like, oh, I feel something different. Yeah, because it's like 11,000 feet above sea level. Whew. Yeah. Oh, retired early. Okay. You know, just do the math, sis. For Panama, you know, Panama has a city, and then you have the outlying areas, and you have the mountains, right? Life is much cheaper in the mountains and outside of the city. And of course, the city itself, we have different neighborhoods. So if you want to be in the most popular neighborhood, it's probably going to cost you more, because your largest expense in Panama is going to be your rent and food. Everything else is really, you don't spend a lot of money on clothes because you don't need to. Nobody's looking at you. And if you think like I do, that I'm not trying to impress anybody, I want to be comfortable, then you'll be fine. So you look at your rent. In the city, you have to pay for electric, your cable, and your cell phone. In the interior, when you rent a house, usually it's a little house. Sometimes it comes with the water, the electric, and the internet. So you may want to make that, your must have. Let's say you're paying $500 for a little house. It includes everything. Anything else you need to do is your food. And if you commit to eating fresh and local, you can control your food costs, right? You want to go to the little truck there and get your vegetables, your fruit, right? And then go to the store for things that you can't find outside. You can control your food costs. Your cell phone, $30, $40 a month. Unlimited data, unlimited everything, right? Then put some money aside for healthcare. Transportation. In the city, I am a bus and metro rider. I have my two cards, my card. So I try to use that most of the time. Now, during rush hour, I like to use the metro because traffic could be crazy. But if you're going somewhere, depending on where it is and how you dress, you may not want to be in the public transportation system. you may need the Uber. Uber has gotten expensive here in Panama. We used to tell you, oh, you can get an Uber for $2, $2 to $3. Nope. Now you're like in the 4 to 7, 8, 9, $10 for Uber. So it's gone up like everything else. Yes, the elevation was crucial in Cusco, but I loved it. It's a beautiful little town. I think what you see in Cusco, also in Peru, is that they have so many visitors to see Machu Picchu, but you do have some people who are in little pockets, but they're like gringos, right? They're not a lot of minorities in Peru. They have a lot of Venezuelan, Colombian, people from Chile. So there is cross migration going on in South America. But my God, when you're sitting in Lima and you're looking for the Pacific, whoo! But Peru is like a desert. There's a lot of sand in Peru. I didn't like that. Any other questions, ladies and gents? Hmm. We talk about public private healthcare, insurance, self pay. Um, One thing I need to research is hospice care and palliative care. That is something I need to research because the reasons people return home. I think I meant to mention that. I think they may be neck and neck. One of the reasons is they get sick, right? If you get sick with some dreadful disease, people feel they need to be home to get the best care and be closer to their children. So that's one. The other reason people return home could be they miss family, especially if you're a grandparent and you talk to your grandkids, you do the FaceTiming and all that, but somehow they feel it's not enough. So some people make frequent trips back and forth. But let's say they're having more grandchildren, some people feel like they're just missing out too much. I've had people who built homes here and abandoned the home and say, "Oh, I can't take it. I need to be close to my grandkids," and left. So missing home, getting sick, those are the main two. The other one that I hear people talk about is the difficulty learning a language. They think it's get too frustrating, not feeling that they know what's going on. If someone's talking to them, and I'm like, okay. Um, and sometimes people go back because of family responsibilities, right? Let's say you got someone who got really sick and you're the only person who can take care of them, like a grandparent, your parents. Sometimes you don't have a choice but to go. Um, I know some people who have left teenagers there, but if something happens to them, because you're dealing with guilt anyway as you left. And then now, if they need you, you feel like you have to be there. So there's a lot of pull uh, that would get you to return home. And I think Adelia asked me again, she's like, did you think of when you move, you're going to retire? Or did you think of aging abroad? And I was so happy she made that distinction because I believe that it is a different mindset to say, I'm going to retire someplace, meaning if it doesn't work out, I can always return home or I can go somewhere else. Whereas when you make a decision of a finality, like us at SWRA, we're like, no, 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 this is where we're here and we're gonna die here. So that's why we talk about cremation plan, funeral planning and all that. So it's a little bit of a different mindset. So yeah. All right, ladies. Anything else? Any other questions? And if you're in a place where as you get older, you feel you might be in a position where you can hire someone to stay with you 24/7, that's another big reason to stay. Because in the States, unless you are a wealthy person, you're just not going to be able to afford somebody caring for you like 24/7. The other thing to consider also is like when you move to a culture that is very family oriented, and they have respect for authority, and old people are kind of revered. I mean, just not that you expect that 100%, but that kind of takes the edge off that you might be in a situation where people don't respect you, they're robbing you, and this and this and that. So I think that cultural framework is very important for people like me who are thinking of aging abroad, because most of us are going to need some help going forward. So we want to be sure we're in a place where we can afford to pay someone to take care of us when we need it. When I sit here, I have these birds. I'm on the 38th floor, and these birds are flying so high. And I'm like, one day, what about one of them just gets lost and flies right into my. I don't know what I'll do. How long did it take you to find a place where you sign a long-term lease? Did you try different Airbnbs? No. When I first came in January 2023, I leased an apartment for 6 months because I was going to go to the Peace Corps and stay there for 2 years, 2 years or 3 years, 2 years. But I did not stay with the Peace Corps. So when I returned, I stayed with my friend Sonia for 3 weeks while I looked around. So I wasn't even in an Airbnb. I know some people who jump from Airbnb to a hotel or Airbnb because it's taking longer for them to get an apartment now, but I did not. And I found my apartment on Encuentra 24, which is the place where you go to look at apartments. And those are owners, and then you call, and then you make an appointment, and you come and you see the place. They still go through a real estate person, right? But when you're seeing the apartments, a lot of time the owners are there. But a lot of the owners are also absentee owners, and they live like in Canada, or in Venezuela, or the place is Spain. So they just hire a manager for the condo, for the place. hmm So 3 weeks. It only took me 3 weeks, and then I was here, and I've been here 2.5 years or 2 years. So I just renewed second, so it's like 2 years. hmm Nope, I didn't have too much of a problem, and I kind of like this apartment. It's and I say tongue in cheek that I never thought I would want to be in a building where you have to push an elevator. I said that. I remembered. I'm like, I don't want to live in an apartment where I have to push, get on a elevator. Guess what I'm doing now? But once I come in, it feels like home. So I am home. And then again, when you are not used to, I'm looking at these boats, and it's so cute. When you are not used to renting, it takes getting used to. But then again, we think about it. We don't want to be responsible for anything. We don't want to be responsible for fixing this, fixing that. We want to be able to pick up the phone and call and let somebody else handle it. We've done that. We've paid our dues. We don't want to do that again. So this is a different mindset where a financial planner would say, or I used to say, oh, if I'm paying rent, I'm not building equity, blah, blah, blah. We don't worry about that right now, because the freedom to just let someone else handle it, it's worth it. It's more doable than having to worry about, the roof is going bad, the plumbing is bad, this and that, and then you're responsible for it. No, we don't want to do that. You try and Quinta 24 too, and most realtors say the owners don't want to lease. No, definitely the 6 month thing is taboo right now. I was lucky to find the 6 months, and then they'll charge you a bit more. But now, remember what I keep telling you guys, supply and demand. There are so many people here who are coming in ready to sign. They don't want to work with you for 6 months because it's not worth it for them. They want, people are doing 3 year leases now just to secure the apartment and lock in a rate. I know two sisters who have 3 year leases. I said I'm not doing it, and I've been on mine in every two, for 2 years. And then my realtor is, she's okay. She doesn't bother me. I treat her place like it's my own. And so, no, the 6 month thing, you're not going to find it. If you need 6 months, you're probably going to do Airbnb. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, you see the birds. I know. And I keep thinking, I mean, that's pretty high for these birds. And then this lady said, the birds are vultures. And I'm like, how do you know they're vultures? Vultures are like where they see dead bodies, right? She said they're vultures. I'm like, oh, I don't know that. But yeah, so right now, I used to tell people you need to work with a realtor, but now, not necessarily. Go to Encuentra 24. I used to take notes, decide which areas you want to look at. When you call that WhatsApp number, send a message, it's the realtor calling you back and setting up. There is something people talk about. Some realtors are saying, oh, I can let you see 4 apartments, but I want you to pay me like $100 for the day or $200 for the day. They're not supposed to charge you to show you the apartments here in Panama. So if they're doing that, they're trying to get some money from you because there's no standard. No one says they can't, right? But if you have a realtor who is that into money, it would be a ding, ding, ding for me. It's like, I don't want to work with this one, right? So working with one realtor only maybe is not the best thing, because if you have an apartment in 3 different areas you're looking at, you're gonna be working with 3 different realtors. All right. But what I always tell people is don't be in a rush to say, oh, if I don't sign, somebody's going to snatch it. Don't do that, because you still have, there is inventory. They are being picky about 6 months, and make sure you read the lease carefully, have your attorney review it to know what it's specifically responsible for, because they're playing hardball now. If they want, hello, thank you, Carrie, they're playing hardball. They say, oh no, if you have mold, that's for you. You need a washer and dryer. My washer was working. You broke it, you replace it. Be careful. Be careful. Yep. So don't be in a rush to do anything here. Nothing moves fast. People are still coming, even though I think the flow has slowed down a bit. I worry that some people would have made the decision to move without looking at all the parameters and all the ifs, the what ifs and stuff, and then or the money, or you try to live up with the Joneses and you realize, no, I shouldn't. Don't do that. Don't spend your money on paying for an apartment that you can afford. Spending money fixing the apartment. Do it a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, okay? Well, again, if you have money sitting around and you can do it, do it. But if you're watching your dollars, don't be in a rush. You don't need to impress anybody, okay? Just be smart. Uh, Budget for your medical expenses. I've heard of people hitting other expats trying to borrow money to pay rent. That's a ding, ding, ding. That means this person did not do their homework, or they just got themselves in a situation that is. And I'm watching people. The other day I see this lady saying, oh, this place didn't work out for me. I'm going over here. And I'm like, your budget caught up with you. When you're trying to impress people with your money, what you wear, the parties that you attend or you're going to throw, your money is going to stretch. Okay? I'm doing a gathering this week, but I said I'm doing soup and I'm making cornbread. Anybody wants to come, bring something, right? So don't try to impress people with your lifestyle. They're not paying you bills. And it's pretty embarrassing, I would say, for me to say I need to return because of I didn't manage my money well. You're welcome, Miss Tandra, GMA Tandra. Yes, you can always send me an email or a message if you have other questions. But I'm gonna sign off, ladies. It's almost 2 hours. If there are no other questions, I hope I answered some of your medical questions. That's what this live was about. Medical insurance and healthcare abroad, but specifically in Panama. Conversations with sunshine. Oh, I love that. Good night. Buenas noches, JC Love Life. Thank you for watching and being with us. Carrie, thank you for being with us. Thank you for the wishes. Maria Farlane, thank you for being on. Tammy, we had Tammy. Julie, thank you for being on. Jojo Lisi, I like that one. Navia, what would Jesus do? Oh boy. Okay. Lindy, thank you. Angie Williams, thank you for being on. Avi Williams, thank you for being on. Grandma Shuns, thank you for being on. Blissful Resonance, ooh, thank you for being on. I love those names. Okay, I think I got mostly everybody. Conversation with Sunshine, Greta, my friend. I'll see you tomorrow. Hits on the Hill. Ooh, you guys come up with the cutest name. Psalms 11:26. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Out of many, we are one. Conversation with Sunshine. Blissful Resonance. Very nice. Red Rufus. Oh, okay. Leaving tomorrow. You're leaving Coronado. Okay, hopefully you're not going up where the storm is. A storm is. Oh my God. Fleur de Lis living. Gracias. Zahara Macaulay. Thank you so much. First live event. Very nice. Dr. Sue. Yes, Dr. Sue. Elana Harris. Joyce's. Oh, we had that already. 1095. And Miss Deborah. Thank you guys. Have a good evening. God loves you. Keep up the faith. Keep yourself encouraged. Don't give in to despair. And this too shall pass. One day. One day. All right. I will talk to you soon. God bless. Au revoir.